Welcome to another episode of Driver Side Chats. It is Tuesday, January 6th, 2015. And today I am going to talk about, you know what? I forgot. What am I going to talk about? Okay, yes. The FPS. The first-person shooter. Now, most everybody understands what an FPS game is. It stands for first-person shooter. But we're going to look at why these first-person shooter games are so big. Massive. You know, when a first-person like Call of Duty, when a new game comes out, people line up. There's lines around Best Buys, around Walmarts, around GameStops. These games are so popular when they come out. They've broken records for first time, sales within the first 24 hours. And gonna look at maybe what is it with a first-person shooter that captivates the FPS player? Or even people that don't really play FPS games. Some of them might do it. And look at why some people might not. I remember when I first started playing FPS games like Quake and Doom, Enemy Territory, Quake War, stuff like that, Battlefield. I liked the fast pace of it, I guess. It was a match only lasted maybe 10 to 15 minutes. You can get in there and get out, and you could do a lot of damage in that amount of time. And you could have a lot of damage done to yourself as well. So, but it was fun, it's cool to be able to go online, I thought, and I still think to this day, and challenge yourself against other people online. And, it's all about pretty much in the end shooting somebody or killing the other player. That has turned into, there's been debate on if that causes people to, do that stuff in real life. But come on, let's not talk about that type of stuff right now. Let's just talk about the FPS game. It's fun. It's entertaining, I think. It's fun, and it's fun to see when you get a good shot off, and it's like 10 minutes of trying your ass off to beat other people. I think it's the competitiveness of it. I think that's why FPS games are so big, because we have that competitiveness to us, and we do want to do good. But there's also times, I don't know how many times I've gone into like Titanfall or Call of Duty or something like that, mainly the two games, FPS games I play right now, and just get my ass kicked. Handed to me. I go in there, I get 2 kills and they get killed 15 times. I'm like, what the hell? And other times it's totally different. I'm at the top. So I think that's the weirdness of it. The consistency is very hard, unless you're probably one of the top FPS players that are, really know maps. And really when it comes down to it, I think it's knowing the maps on FPS games. If you know a map really well, you know where the places are on the map to hide, to shoot from, to move to, you have a huge advantage. So I believe like a lot of the top FPS players, first of all, they have a very good knowledge of the maps. And you have to have a very good ability with your speed, your mouse, and everything else. I think it's really driven the gaming mouse marketing is FPS games, like how many, your DPI, or I think I have a SteelSeries wireless, I forgot the name of it, Sensei mouse, and I love that mouse. I love the feel of it, and they go by, I think it's CPI, something different than DPI, but they're always like pushing like the more, the higher, the better, which isn't really the truth. That's not the truth. When it comes to an FPS game, you don't have to have a massive DPI You know, because sometimes to me, it just gets way too twitchy. You know, that's not like, I play on kind of a medium-sized mat, gaming mat, not a huge, massive one, but, you know, a fair-sized one. But I don't move my hand around a lot, but I don't need a mouse that's just so twitchy. It doesn't work for me. But, God, I just went off onto a tangent there. I must apologize. That's terrible of me. Going back to the FPS shooter games, you know, you do need a good mouse, I think, but sometimes you don't. I've heard of people doing great with just a regular, you know, a piece of, you know, a regular stock Dell mouse from a regular Dell, you know, machine. So I think a lot of it's hyped up, you know, of course. You know, you want to hype up the gaming material. You want to kill more, buy this mouse, you know, Razer mice, you know. There's so many different Cooler Master. There's so many different makers of mice out there. Corsair makes mice. It's like pretty much any gaming hardware company now makes peripherals. With those peripherals, you're going to have keyboards, mice, headsets, everything else. But I think it is the competitiveness of us that gamers that gravitate towards FPS shooters. Myself, this is the norm. What happens to me is I hear about a new one coming out and I don't go all bonkers for it. I'm not one of those people that stand in line around stores waiting for it to come out. It'll come out. I'll usually download it, as I do most of my games now, from Steam, and then I'll play it. And a lot of these games, they have a ranking system, so you get to a certain level and that's not the end. You could do what's called prestige, which means you literally go back to zero. You keep some things, but you lose pretty much all your weapons and everything. You got to work your way back up. And you prestige to the next prestige level. And the whole thing is like, some people, you know, I've seen people prestige like 10, 12 times. It's literally, they're going through and ranking up to the max that amount of time. Now, it gets a little easier every time you do it. I'll give them that. But to me, I get bored after a while. It's like I'm doing the same thing over and over and over. So I burn out really quick on them, and then have to get away and do something else, like an RPG game, then come back to them. But they're fun, they're entertaining, they definitely keep you on your toes. You definitely have to be on your toes in an FPS game. The thing is, I would advise you to always be moving, stay close to corners. You know, it's like regular warfare. You're not going to be running out in the middle of the open, and you're going to get killed if you do that. If you stand in one spot, you got to think about it. You got a whole map with a bunch of crazy people out there trying to kill you. You know, if it's a free-for-all. Like, a lot of times, like nowadays, I play team deathmatch games, so it's one team, like 6 players maybe against another 6 players on a map. So it's not all free-for-all. Back in the day, I used to do a lot of free-for-all. That was kind of fun. That was just like kill everything, you know. Everybody is your enemy. Kill them all! But, you know, more it's like, I see nowadays the more of the population is team deathmatch games. And there's capture the flag. There's so many different types of games within them that they make, but they'll change the name of them, but they're basically the same type of things, like capture the flag, or you defend something, or something like, you know, it's always the same type of, I don't know, canon, I guess you could say, to all the games, how the gameplay. Canons was, I don't even think that's even right to say. That's like used in writing, the canon. But it is very competitive. It's very fun. So if you like high competition, fast pace, you know, and it doesn't last that long. So it's like I say, it lasts for maybe like 10 minutes or so. Sometimes it's less than that. You know, you get in, you have your fun, you get out. You know, you get your adrenaline rush, and you get out of it. You know. So that's kind of pretty much how I take it and what I do with FPS games now. But they're hugely popular. I mean, look at the last Call of Duty, Advanced Warfare. You know, you get even celebrities. You know, Kevin Spacey. He's in it. You know. The gaming thing is getting so big that actors are looking at it, and it's like it's another revenue. It's another income stream for them, is what I think they look at it, you know. And it's challenging and it's different, you know. Some of them might look at it's a different medium for them to work in, but nonetheless, you know, they are hugely popular. And whether it's like an FPS or a role-playing game like Mass Effect, you know, that takes like, that's kind of both role-playing and first-person shooter, you know, that's got a lot of actors in it too. You know, well-known actors. Check out who the voice of Edie is in Mass Effect. You might be surprised, or you might not be surprised, but right when I heard her voice, I knew who it was. But actors are all over the place in games, and they're definitely in FPS games as well. But that's pretty much it for today's driver side chats. Just want to talk about FPS shooters, FPS games. If you have any input, your take or whatever on FPS games, put them in the comments below. You know, it's like, I want to hear what you guys think. You know, don't be afraid to ask questions or whatever. And as always, R8 Gaming, game on.